Hey guys, welcome to Career Talk with the Brown Feminist. My name is Furia, and in today's episode, I will be telling you guys about all the different career options available in the healthcare industry and how to pick the one that is exactly right for you. So, without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so for number one, the profession that is most commonly associated with healthcare, medicine, or health sciences is, you guessed it, it's a medical doctor, also known as a physician. According to an article published by CBC in 2019, there are currently about 90,000 physicians in Canada. And according to Dr. Bill.ca in 2020, the average salary for doctors in Canada is about $281,000 a year for a family doctor and higher for specialists. So we might think that this is a pretty sweet deal, but don't forget that to become a doctor, it can take between 5 and 10 years of schooling and medical training, not to mention a whole ton of student loans. So we'll get more into details in our next episode, but today we're just going to be exploring all the different kind of healthcare professions and try to see which one's right for you. So, if you're interested in a lot of schooling, you really like to think about diseases and how to solve them, looking through diagnostic reports or doing surgery, you're great with your hands, you have a lot of stamina, and a lot of patience to go through all that schooling and pass all those rigorous exams, then this might be the profession for you. Not to forget, getting into medical school is also one of the very, very difficult things to do in Canada. In number two, we have the second most famous kind of healthcare professional, and probably the one that's the most warmly loved by the population of Canada. You guessed it, we're talking about nurses. Now, nurses can be of various types. We have registered practical nurses, registered nurses, nurse practitioners, and all that. But according to the Canadian Institute for Health Information, in 2019, there were about 439,975 total nurses in Canada. Now, these include all these different kind of nurses that we will discuss in our next episode. But altogether, nurses are really loved by people. They interact with their patients even more than doctors, and they care for the whole person, not just the disease, which means they have to care for their physical, intellectual, and social needs. According to Talent.com, a registered nurse in Canada makes about $80,000 per year on average. So there you have it. Let's move on to number three. The third healthcare profession that you can consider is being a pharmacist. Now, pharmacists are very important members of the healthcare team, especially in a hospital setting. As a nurse myself, I've seen how huge a role they play in keeping patients safe and in making sure that there is an effective use of medications. Sometimes pharmacists can also be called as dispensing chemists. So this important member of the circle of care have to know everything about medications, their side effects, potential reactions with other drugs. So if you're really into the chemistry side of things and the health side of things, and you really like being surrounded by all of this medication and the cool new stuff being discovered and seeing how they can impact people, how one drug can affect the function of another drug, then this could be the profession for you. According to Nuvo.ca, the average pharmacist salary in Canada is a whooping $94,000 a year. And according to pharmacist.ca, Canada has about roughly 42,500 licensed pharmacists at the moment. So this was number three, being pharmacists. Now, pharmacists, nurses, and doctors all play a very interlinked role in providing high quality healthcare in a hospital setting. These are all excellent professions to consider, and each one is a little bit different. You might even want to think about how much schooling you want to do, whether you just want to do a bachelor's, get a license, do a master's or a PhD. Are you willing to commit 5 years of your life to getting trained? 10 years, how much you're willing to spend on it, and all of those things. So let's keep going and seeing what other healthcare professions are out there for you. Now, with the rise of all of these new and cool and specialized medical devices and medical technology to find out if you have a certain disease or not, We also needed a lot of technicians and technologists. So that brings us to number 4. Now, technicians and technologists specialize in using special medical equipment safely. They conduct diagnostic tests. Sometimes they interpret the diagnostic results from those tests. These can include radiologists, MRI technicians, phlebotomists, sonographers, and other technicians and technologists. According to Talent.com, the average medical technologist in Canada makes roughly $66,000 a year. Now, this is a good kind of profession for somebody who does like healthcare but does not want to go to school for years and years and rack up student debt. A typical technician or technologist requires an associate's degree, so you can be done with school much faster. And you get to actually specialize with one or two equipment and skills and work with that, have a pretty decent work life balance, and you also get to be in a patient facing role. Now let's hop over to number 5. Now, if you're not a big fan of all the other orifices of the human body and you just want to stick around to the face and the mouth, then being a dentist or a dental hygienist might be the profession for you. According to payscale.com, dentists in Canada make $116,000 a year on average, while dental hygienists can make up to $75,000 a year. Now, these are both great professions and they can both work in dental clinics. Now, a hygienist would need an associate's degree like a college program, while a dentist would need to get a doctorate degree called a Doctor of Dental Medicine, which means to be making the big bucks as a dentist, you would first need to do a bachelor's degree and then go to university or dental school. Now, if you're somebody who really likes to work with their hands, and you also enjoy that regular patient contact and being in the clinic one on one, then another healthcare profession that you can consider is to become a physical therapist or a chiropractor. Now, both PTs and chiropractors require quite a bit of schooling between 4 to 7 years. You might need a bachelor's and a master's to become a physical therapist in Ontario. You might need an undergrad degree followed by a doctor of chiropractic medicine. And on average, according to Nuvo.com, a physical therapist would make in Canada roughly $66,000 to $70,000 per year on average, while a chiropractor would make slightly more at about $80,000 or $87,000 a year on average. So these are also really good choices to make if you want to be within the healthcare profession. You're okay with going to school for about 4 to 7 years and making roughly this amount of money. Now, for number 7, I really want to talk about all the different kind of therapists there are in our healthcare system. For the sake of saving time, I have grouped them all together. Now, let's talk about respiratory therapists, occupational therapists, radiation therapists. So, similar to the kind of technologists, these therapists are also really specialized in one kind of approach to curing or to supporting and managing a disease condition. They can use that with their special training, special devices they might have to use, and evidence-based approach. So these kind of therapists are also require an advanced diploma or a bachelor's, and in some cases like the OT, it might require a master's degree. According to Talent.com, a respiratory therapist in Canada makes an average of $61,000 a year, while an occupational therapist would make roughly $73,000 a year. It's a good little sum as an average income. It's not a whole lot of schooling, and it is a lot more specialized and focused. As somebody working in nursing in the hospital myself, I also work often very closely with OTs and RTs, especially when it's a complex case. They do get called in and buzzed in to come in and provide more guidance and to plan the next line of care when somebody has a very specific kind of disease. So this is also going to allow you to be able to do patient care in a targeted way without needing to go down the very long route of going to med school or anything like that. Now let's move on to number 8. For number 8, I've actually grouped together a couple of them as well, and these are all really important members of the healthcare community who don't necessarily have a whole bunch of schooling, but they do really valuable work in providing quality patient care. Now, these are our support staff, support workers. Let's start with the PSWs, known as personal support workers. There's also PTAs, who are physiotherapy assistants. We have DSWs, and so on. Now, all these people are not necessarily in regulated professions or licensed professions, but they work hand in hand really closely with doctors or nurses and in long-term care communities and various other healthcare settings to ensure that good and quality care is provided to patients. Now, in typically, these people only would require a college diploma, sometimes a 6-month certification course to get started in the workforce, and there is a huge shortage in Canada. According to Talent.com, a PSW in Canada right now makes roughly $38,000 per year on average. And if you're not looking forward to a whole lot of student loans and schooling, but you are really good with people and care, you're very physically active and engaging and have great interpersonal skills, this should be a profession for you to consider. For number 9, we are talking about healthcare research professions. Now, I myself was in that field, and I can tell you it is a long, long road to take, but it does have its payback. So in this field, in number 9, we are talking about anybody who does biomedical research, who might be a biomedical engineer, a geneticist, an immunologist, a microbiologist, and so on and so forth. These people, once you've actually taken up the role of being a full-on researcher or a scientist, you can be making roughly $100,000 or more in Canada, according to eriri.com. But in order to be that, you have to do a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, a PhD, sometimes even one or more postdoctoral fellowships as well. If you don't want to go the full way, you can do a bachelor's and a master's and work as a research technician in the field as well. You will be making significantly less, but it will still be in a lab environment where you get to do lots of creative problem solving and using technical skills in a research environment to further the cause of scientific knowledge. If you are somebody who doesn't really love to be around people, but who does love science and you want to do research and discover new things and problem solve and optimize experiments and deal with cells and cellular components, this really might be the way for you. Now, finally, in number 10, we are going to be talking about counselors. And there's different kinds of counselors, but the overall goal is the same. And it means not only do you have the theoretical and the practical knowledge of your field, but you're also good with people and dealing with people, interacting with them, helping them arrive at very productive conclusions about their condition, whether it's a mental health or a physical health condition. We are talking about clinical psychologists, mental health counselors, genetic counselors, and so on, people who are there to support you to cope with difficult life health situations. Now, a typical clinical psychologist in Canada will need to be in school for at least 7-8 years. They would need to do a bachelor's, master's, leading to a PhD in clinical psychology, and maybe get a license to practice. And according to Indeed.com, this individual can make roughly $130,000 per year. Might be harder to get a job. There's not a whole lot of jobs available the higher you go, but this might be something you absolutely love. If you're really strong-minded, you're really able to be there for people and support them, knowing your boundaries, maintaining a good therapeutic relationship with your patients, and doing the good work. So this was it, 10 different kinds of healthcare professions available to you. There's definitely more. I have tried to kind of group them together today for you guys just to get a sense of the major chunks that are available. Now, it's up to you to answer a couple of key questions to decide which one is right for you. Number 1 is going to be, what is your personality type? Are you an introvert? Are you an extrovert? Do you enjoy patient communication, dealing with different kinds of people? You have a lot of patience to deal with people. Trust me, sometimes people can get on your nerves. Sometimes they can be very trying. Sometimes it's not even their fault, and you just have to have a lot of patience to support them through whatever issues they're going through. If you're a people person, that's definitely a point that you might want to be in a front-facing, frontline role, such as a nurse or a PTA or a PSW and so on, who does a lot of patient interaction. On the other hand, if you're a more technical person, more science focused, but you really want to focus more on the disease than of the whole person, then something like medicine or pharmacy might be more interesting to you, depending on your leaning towards the biology of things or the chemistry of things. And finally, you should be asking yourself, how long of a grind are you willing to stick it out for? Are you willing to stay in school for a bachelor's degree? Are you willing to do 3 or 4 degrees? Are you willing to stay here for the long haul? How much student loans can you afford to take? And how long are you okay to wait before your career full-time job starts off? A lot of it depends on the amount of sacrifices you are able to or willing to make for your career. Not everybody has the privilege of being able to sit through 5 or 10 years of school. Some people might need to start working full time beforehand to support their family and pay their bills and so on. So it's definitely the finances of it are a lot to consider as well. You should also definitely find out about yourself how good you are with your hands. Your dexterity with your fingers and your motor skills can really help you in things like being a surgeon in medicine or being a dentist and so on, where your hands, your chiropractic professions, your PTA professions, your hands and your ability to work with your hands and your body and your fitness can really matter. These questions will help you decide which one is the right profession for you, how long you're willing to go to school, how good your grades are, what kind of schools you can actually push yourself into, and if you're willing to make that sacrifice. So today, this is it for me. This is the Brown Feminist. Until next time, until our second episode, I hope you guys are all well. And I hope this episode has been able to help you kind of figure out all the different kind of professions within the healthcare industry that you can consider for yourself. Until next time, take care and stay well.